Testing. Testing. It works. Okay, now say hi. Charlie, it's Saturday, October something. October 29th. And I got on here last week because I was playing Assassin's Creed. I've been kind of just... I'm finishing up college right now. And so I haven't really been buying new games. And so this has been the perfect time when I do get a free moment, which isn't often. I've been going back and kind of beating everything that I've purchased over the last, 6 or 7 years that I didn't necessarily beat. That's not important. This isn't the most appropriate game for what I'm doing this video for, but I'm not doing my Resident Chicken podcast, and I like to talk about movies. So I'm getting on here and I'm going to review some movies while I play Batman. Batman's spooky. It's kind of I probably should put a Resident Evil game in for this. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of stuff, and I realized I haven't really gotten on here and talked to everybody on my YouTube. It's not important, but you guys know where to find me if you want to discuss any of this with me. But yeah, it's been kind of an interesting year for horror movies. So I thought it'd be fun to jump on here and talk for a little bit while I'm laying in bed, because I'm still feeling pretty sick today, and so is Charlie. Let's see here. The first... How should I do this? Can't run me into the ground. I'm Batman. I'm Batman! Does Batman die at the end of this game? I think there's a new one out, right? Gotham Knights? I don't know if I'm interested. I'm not interested. Wowie wow whoa. Got him. Alright, let's get into it. This is like the worst fucking game to play right now while I'm trying to do this, but whatever, fuck it. Oh god. Sorry about the tree, everybody. Whoop. Sorry about that tree too. Oh jeez, I'm driving like my wife right now. Ugh. So first up, at the beginning of October, the new Hocus Pocus came out, Hocus Pocus 2. I didn't hate it, but I also, it was like, I love the original Hocus Pocus. I remember when that movie came out, my grandma rented it, and I loved it. And the movie didn't do so great when it first came out.
Find him, Sergeant.
Oh, I can get this guy. I can get this motherfucker. Oh god, he's turning back around. Fuck.
Batmobile spotted. Salvation Bridge.
This is difficult. It's the first Hocus Pocus, and anyways, when I got older, I realized, like, it seemed like every year that movie would get more and more popular, and I always thought that was cool, because I loved that movie, and I ended up, I probably watch Hocus Pocus once a year. I liked Hocus Pocus. I liked, my favorite, like, Halloween children's movies was Hocus Pocus, Little Monsters, like shit like that. I always enjoyed. I remember we watched The Lost Boys a lot around Halloween. That was kind of my like parents' go-to. Scream, the original Scream, we watched a couple of years in a row when I was a kid. Rocky Horror Picture Show, just like the fun Halloween movies. So I just went into this sequel treating it like that. You know, it wasn't the best follow-up, but wasn't the worst. So I was worried that they were gonna make like the movie all about the Sanderson sisters or whatever, and they were gonna just tell the same jokes they already told in the original, and it wasn't gonna be anything really all that new. And that is kind of what they did. Um, to the point where they even made. I don't want to spoil anything really, but I would say that they even tried to make the witches in that movie almost heroes. Like like anti-heroes. And if you watch the original Hocus Pocus, that movie's fun because they're scary. They're a threat. They're evil witch ladies. Like you don't want them to win, right? And in this one, they kind of, I don't know how to explain it very well. They basically did what I said they were gonna do. They made it all about the Sanderson sisters, and it was whatever, you know. I'm a fucking 35-year-old man. I don't know if Hocus Pocus 2 was made for me. I think it was made for like, you know, middle-aged women who think witches are cool. A lot of like jokes along those lines. So I don't know if I really need to talk too much about Hocus Pocus 2. It was whatever. I had fun watching it with my family. Can I get out of my car?
I need to destroy the missile launcher.
Okay. I don't like this. Oh, okay, there we go. Halloween Ends. I noticed that I got a little flack for talking shit about Halloween Ends on my Facebook. Some of my film-making friends, and then I was having conversations about it with some of my other buddies, and I think I pissed some people off. I got a couple of messages. What do I do? How the fuck do I get up there? Wasn't a big deal, but I noticed some people like the new Halloween Ends, which is cool. Right on for you, you know? Anyways, I don't know. I feel like either you like these new Halloween movies or you don't. What's his name? David? What do I need to do here? Do I launch myself somehow? Oh.
Rooftops clear. Targets in the control room. Moving into secure.
I didn't dislike it because of the lack. So people, when I was talking shit about this movie, sometimes on Facebook I'll get on there when I'm watching a movie and I'll talk a bunch of shit. Like, I'll try to make jokes and quips or whatever, and I'll do like, while I'm watching the movie, I'll just put a comment so you can kind of gather where I'm at in the movie. It's something I've done. I did that with Halloween Kills last year, and I don't know, it was kind of funny. Whatever. And so I think people thought maybe I didn't like Halloween Ends because Michael Myers wasn't in it, or whatever fucking stupid reason.
Your patience will be rewarded soon.
Jeez, this looks like a big part of the game. Okay, let me finish my idea. This is terrible. This is not well planned out whatsoever. Okay. I didn't like Halloween Ends because it was a bad movie. It wasn't good. How do I put this? I could argue that all three of the new Halloweens were kind of stupid. I enjoyed the first one for the most part. It was an interesting concept, but even that movie, like when the journalist is holding the mask up to Michael Myers in the insane asylum and is yelling at him, and it was fucking stupid. And the whole motive in that one was Michael Myers doesn't have a motive. They took the concept of him being her sibling or whatever, her being his little sister, and him trying to kill his family members. They took that out. He's just a crazy person who happened to attack a babysitter. She never got over it, you know. That's interesting, but Michael Myers' motive in that movie was a crazy doctor was obsessed with Dr. Loomis's work and wanted to use Michael Myers to antagonize her further. So the antagonist of that movie isn't Michael Myers. He's simply a tool, right? He's not even evil. He's just a crazy person who gets moved to the wrong place where he is allowed to continue to terrorize this woman. When if it wasn't for that doctor, Michael Myers would have escaped, maybe, but he just didn't give a fuck. He's just crazy, right? He just snapped and killed his sister and then killed a bunch of people and went to an insane asylum. He was standing there and mind his own fucking business. So he's kind of antagonized a little bit there, right? So they end up burning him at the end of the movie. And then in Halloween Kills, He kills so many people in that movie, and it's at least that's kind of funny and well, not funny, but yeah, it's interesting. It's like, oh, okay, they're like going for a high body count in this movie. He's like, I made a joke like this should be called Halloween Kills the Geriatrics. He kills like 30 dead like old people around Laurie Strode's like compound place that she has to serve her survival compound. He like gets out of there, kills a bunch of firemen, um, and then he like kills just like 30 old people the first half of this movie. He's just murdering old people. And in this movie, everybody's chanting "Evil dies tonight," and the villagers assemble. You know, this town. It's like, fuck Michael Myers. He's evil. He's darkness. And it's like he isn't though. And excuse me, Charlie. Michael Myers' entire motivation in that movie is to go and look out the window where he killed his sister. He just wants to get back to the house and look out his window. So he's escaped the insane asylum like he did in the first movie, and so that tells you in the first movie all he wanted to do was get to his house and look out the window, which doesn't make any sense because in the first movie he's chilling at his house because he eats a dog and stuff, but he goes out and kills people. So you kind of fucked up with that idea. Like his motivation is just to go look out the window. Like what the fuck is that? And he just pointlessly kills an entire town of people. Can't die. They like a group of people beat his ass. Michael C. Hall from the Breakfast Club shows up. They all beat his ass, and he gets up and kills everyone. Like everyone in that movie dies. And one of the main characters in the movie is Lonnie, the bully from the. It's just stupid. So this movie, Michael Myers got to look out the window, and so he goes to a sewer to hide out, and he just is just chilling in the sewer. And this poor unfortunate guy finds him and starts getting him to come out, and they go and kill people together or something. And it was kind of like the idea that like it's contagious, you know. So the first one was like it can haunt you and ruin your life and make you think about like, you know, like be scared of him. The second one's like you can't kill evil, it's just gonna come and it's relentless. And then the third one's like, oh yeah, you can kill evil, but it can jump to somebody else due to his actions, I guess. It's really fucking stupid and convoluted, and they're really trying hard to focus on unnecessary camos and bringing back certain people that weren't really a big deal in the original. Um, like I think in Halloween Kills, they even wanted Paul Rudd to come back as Tommy Doyle, which would have just it's stupid. And I'll tell you the last reason why I thought this movie was complete garbage is the way it ends. Okay, I'm cool with them like grinding up Michael Myers at the end. He gets stabbed, and I made a joke on on Facebook where it's like, oh, after 13 movies, you just had to stab him there, you know, like whatever. So I realize this is a different timeline. I got a comment about that. Like, there's only 4 movies in this current timeline. And it's like, shut the fuck up. He got shot like 6 times in the original movie, and I realize the second movie doesn't count anymore. But in the second movie in this timeline, the 2018 one, he's fucked up in that movie. He gets burned at the end. And then in the Halloween Kills, he definitely was like killed multiple times. He still lived, but whatever. So they take his body to make sure that we're not bringing him back ever again, and they grind him up in like a mulcher. And that's fine. All that's like whatever, you know. The series is stupid, but yeah, end it, please. This is why I fucking hate this movie. Throughout the movie, a random cop from the original shows up in the 2018 Halloween, right? One of the deputies in the original Halloween, he's in this movie, and he's kind of got a relationship with Laurie because they survived this horrendous ordeal, right? Well, he gets killed in that movie, but they decided to bring him back in Halloween Kills. So he's in the hospital with Laurie, and so they kind of bonded throughout this ordeal together. So in the third movie, they start flirting with each other, and they're at the store, and he's like kind of nervous to talk to her, and he's like, "My daughter got me a Rosetta Stone. I'm learning how to speak Japanese. You know, maybe sometime we can go check out the cherry blossoms in Japan or something." So they grind up Michael Myers, and Laurie Strode walks out in her bathrobe drinking her coffee, and there's a bag of vegetables sitting outside the door. And the cop is just kind of awkwardly standing on the street looking at her like he gave her some vegetables. Like, I guess maybe it was from the store. Like, what the fuck? And then she's like, hey, and he's like, basically like, you want to go check out those cherry blossoms? And she's like, yeah, let's go. Or maybe she asked him. I don't even remember anymore. It's so stupid. So the movie ends with them like, I get that they're gonna like go be together or whatever, but um, it's like, yeah, let's go to Japan. You know, like Michael Myers is dead. Let's leave and go to Japan. And then Don't Fear the Reaper comes on, and it's like, what were you trying to fucking say with these movies? Like, what was the purpose? And I hate when people say that because the purpose was they wanted to make a fucking Halloween movie, right? They wanted to do Halloween, and they were trying to like do that nostalgic bullshit that everybody tries to milk. And sometimes it's successful, and sometimes like the newest Ghostbusters, that Ghostbusters movies where they brought Harold Ramis back as a ghost. It was a fucking horrible movie. Like it wasn't good. You're not like stop. And now they're gonna do Gremlins too. I guess they're gonna do a Gremlins 3. And it's like just leave that shit alone. Like stop. Make something new. Give me something new to appreciate and enjoy, you know? But whatever. Okay. So that was Halloween Kills. Very disappointing. I can't even call it disappointing because I knew that was going to suck. Hocus Pocus 2 and Halloween Ends. Sorry, I called it Halloween Kills. Halloween Ends and Hocus Pocus 2 did not disappoint me. I knew those were going to be bad movies. The one movie this Halloween season that did really disappoint me, and I don't normally bitch this much about movies. Usually I can find what the person who made it was trying to do, or I can find appreciation where I need to find appreciation, so I can still have a good time. And I have to admit, I did have a good time watching these shitty movies because I like bad movies. So I appreciated how fucking awful it was. And Darcy, the male girl from the last drive-in theater with Joe Bob Briggs, was in Halloween Ends. So that was probably the best part of that movie was I got to see Darcy's beautiful face. Um, the disappointment this season was I was kind of getting excited about the new Hellraiser. They're trying to, I don't know what they were trying to call it. I heard it being called a sequel, which it definitely wasn't a sequel to anything. And then a lot of people were saying it's a reboot, and a lot of people were saying it was a direct adaptation to the Hellbound Heart, which is a novel Hellraiser is based off of. Well, it wasn't any of those things. It was just a remake. They fucking were trying to remake Hellraiser with a different, like a remake. Like they remade the movie. The Cenobites are different. The rules of the box are different. The atmosphere was different. And compared to the rest of the series, I mean, honestly, the original Hellraiser is the best movie in the whole series. I used to always say the first two were really good because I fucking love Hellbound. Hellbound is like one of my favorite horror movies. But as a sequel and compared to the original, there's a lot of liberties taken in that movie, and that movie's fucking batshit insane. Like that movie's crazy. And my biggest complaint about the series as a whole, because this was the 11th movie, right? I think there's 11 Hellraisers now. Um, my biggest complaint. What was the last one? The last one was Judgment. Judgment was pretty cool. Judgment had a lot of cool practical effects in it, and I enjoyed Judgment. And then you had Revelations with an S at the end. The Book of Revelation in the Bible doesn't have an S at the end. So if you're gonna try and be like, edgy, or you're gonna try and use like scripture, you should understand that it's just the Book of Revelation. In that there's no, it's not plural. It's the revelation to the end of the world. Oh man, fucking people. Okay. So yeah, Revelations was fucking garbage. Like that was like a fan made piece of shit. Is Dimension trying to uphold and keep the rights to the series? Um, Garbage fucking movie. And that was after a string of really bad sequels, all the way from Bloodline on. I think Dimension had it right because Miramax did Hell on Earth. The third Hellraiser's a fun movie. I like the first three Hellraisers. But the original one's the classic. That's like a solid horror film, and and the reason I kind of criticize the whole series is they kind of missed the point that the original Hellraiser is a story about Julie and Frank and Kirsty. The Cenobites don't show up until the end, and they're just kind of like a tool. Like the main antagonist in the original Hellraiser is Uncle Frank. He opens the gateway to hell, and he escapes hell, and him and Julie, through their selfish actions, are trying to bring him back from hell. Those guys are just, they're Cenobites. They just come from hell to bring Frank back to hell. And then they have, they become a threat to the main girl because she opens the box, right? So the series misses that concept. The series doesn't read the book, The Hellbound Heart. The series as a whole is focused on Pinhead and the Cenobites because they're fucking cool. And this movie continues that constant fucking mistake. They showed the Cenobites too much, they focused on the Cenobites, and they fucked with the rules of Hellraiser. The point of Hellraiser is you're supposed to seek out these demons because you're looking for angels, and instead you get endless torment from these scary demons. They cannot be stopped. There's nothing in the original Hellraiser that would indicate that you could stop them other than by closing the box and sending them back to hell. But you can't just like they had like walls that closed. They like 13 ghosted the Cenobites at one point, and the Cenobites couldn't walk past these like engravings or whatever, which is fine, whatever. But all the victims in this movie are victims because the main girl who opens the box is sacrificing them basically in order to become a Cenobite, only she doesn't want to be a Cenobite. So she's just killing all of her friends by accident. And if you get stabbed by, there's like a spike that comes out of the box. If you get stabbed by that, all the Cenobites come and take you to hell. Well, that's not the point of Hellraiser. It's you're seeking out this pleasure. You're seeking out this thing, and the box calls to bad people. It's not meant to. Kirsty, unfortunately, her and her dad are unfortunately victims of the situation, which were, I don't know. It was a fucking remake, and it was somebody who kind of got Hellraiser and probably liked Hellraiser, and they kind of just did their own thing. So I can appreciate that. It just mediocre, very mediocre horror movie that I with the Cenobites were really cool looking. I like that they changed things up. They were more fleshy. They were like their flesh was altered into like their uniforms instead of just wearing leather. They were like fleshy. Like I don't know. They're cool. The new Pinhead was cool. She was powerful and scary but just because she was a female does not mean that it was anything like the engineer from the Hellbound Heart. The Hellbound Heart's like she's like when they call her the engineer, and I don't think she's ever referred to as Pinhead. She's like it like talks about her vagina is like eviscerated with like piercings, and she's like sitting on skulls, and you'd have to read the book, but yeah, nobody's ever done the Hellbound Heart, and this is nowhere near the Hellbound Heart. The Hellbound Heart is the original, like the original Hellraiser is the closest to the Hellbound Heart, and they took liberties, with Pinhead and everything. They did their own. They made new Cenobites for that, but so when I originally heard that this movie was being made and they got a girl, I was wondering, well, maybe they'll actually just do that, and instead they went fucking batshit insane, and they had a big mansion, made like the Lament configuration and all that shit. So I was like, all right, last movie I'm gonna review. So I've been bitching a lot, right? It's kind of let down this Halloween season by movies. Well, this weekend I was told by a friend that they saw the scariest movie they'd ever seen, which excited me because I'm trying to think. The last time I was scared by a movie was Hereditary. Hereditary scared the shit out of me. That movie's fucked up. I'm not really usually scared. Like if something scares me, I don't like being scared. It's hard to scare me too because I'm fucked up. But Hereditary got me. That one got me. So I was like, oh, well, I'll watch this. And he told me it's called Barbarian. And he's like, don't just go in blind. Just go watch Barbarian. I was like, all right, you got it. And then I found out it was coming out on HBO Max towards the end of October. So I purposely didn't watch trailers. I didn't watch anything about it. I kind of forgotten about it because he told me about this like back in September or even like July. No, it was probably August or July. I don't know. And my daughter came home the other night and she's like, yeah, my boyfriend told me this movie called Barbarian. It was really over the top and graphic. I was like, hey, hold that thought. I'm gonna watch this. Like I'm gonna watch this in a couple days. So she told my wife about it, and my wife's like, I don't want to see this shit. So I watched it on my own, and the only problem with my review is I'm not gonna say anything about this movie right now. I will be back. Hold on a second. Okay. Sorry, guys. Um,
Right. Tell me you have a name.
I don't.
did I say what the movie was? I was horribly interrupted. This is the worst. This is the worst movie Halloween movie review ever. I'm not even playing a horror game. I'm playing fucking Batman, like a 5-year-old. And I just bitched about a bunch of movies. So we'll end this because this is terrible. But maybe I'll go through and maybe edit this. I don't know. I don't feel very good right now, so I don't really fucking care at the moment. But if you came across this, hi everybody, happy Halloween. I was hoping to have a scripted movie done by this time, but school and everything and moving and getting married and all that kind of um, it got backburnered. So maybe next year I might start releasing movies. I don't know, man. Gotta get through school. Um, but okay, so Hellraiser was disappointing, but it was all right. So I'm not recommend. Oh, Prey was really good too. Prey was good. I liked Prey, but that was kind of before the Halloween season. That was just Predator with a Disney princess. I got some shit for liking that movie. A lot of people were like, "Oh, that's woke," um, but Hocus Pocus 2 was stupid. Halloween Ends was stupid, but I kind of knew those were gonna be stupid. And then I really liked. Um, I ended up really liking this movie that I was told to go into blind, and I'm gonna tell you guys to go into a blind too. It's on HBO Max. It's called Barbarian. Don't watch the trailer. Don't read any reviews. Don't let any of your stupid friends tell you what happened. Just go watch Barbarian. Movie of the year. Fucking loved it. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm highly recommend Barbarian. Now our final movie, and I want you guys to notice the trend here. I want you guys to notice the pattern that I'm talking about here. Prey aside, because Prey is the same thing as the rest of these movies, but the final movie I'm going to talk about, and I ended up liking it, and I didn't think I would. I went in with low expectations. Rob Zombie's The Monsters was not as bad as the trailer would lead you to believe. It is Rob Zombie making a kids movie. I don't. Yeah, it was a Rob Zombie kids movie. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I liked it. I liked the monsters, and he understands the monsters. And although there's a lot of Rob Zombie movies I don't care for, this was good. I give the monsters my seal of approval. Um, some other movies I've mentioned and talked about on over this last year. I talked about the new Jurassic World, which I was excited about, and I liked, despite people being overly critical of it. Um, all these movies are not. Charlie, stop. All these movies are not original fucking films. Prey is a sequel to Predator. Hellraiser is an ongoing series since the 80s. It just keeps retreading over itself. Halloween came from the 70s and it became a series in the 80s. Uh, all this stuff, Hocus Pocus came out in the 90s. It's a cult hit and hasn't had a sequel in 30 years. All this shit is just fucking. Where's the originality? Like, can we get? So the one movie I am praising, and I did enjoy the monsters, and I did enjoy Prey, and I liked them a lot actually. But the one thing I'm actually like this is movie of the year material was Barbarian, and even that I could argue is kind of been done. It wasn't. It was still an original story. It had things that it took from other movies and stuff, but it was still an original story, right? So that tells me, as somebody who wants to make movies, well, I definitely don't want to fucking just keep making this shit over and over and over again. Um, People the audiences grew tired of remakes. In the last, I'd say in the last 10 years, people really were like, "Fuck remakes, stop doing remakes." So instead of making fresh ideas, which you get a couple fresh ideas every year where you're like, "Oh, that was really good," which is what Barbarian is to me. So now they think that they're clever because they're doing reboots, and I'm looking back at like my favorite movies over the last couple of years. I really enjoyed Mandy. I really enjoyed Overlord. I fucking loved Overlord. Is it the Headhunter or whatever? I have that on DVD. These are all fucking original. One of my all-time favorite movies of the last decade was a movie called Bone Tomahawk. These are all original concepts. So it's just something to think about. If you are going to do a remake, you want to do something new, you got to be clever about what you're doing that's new. That's why you want to go back to the Fly. You were able to modernize that and do something entirely new and update it and make it more powerful and do your own thing. They were successful at The Fly. That's why they did their even Dawn of the Dead. Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead remake is a great movie. He remade it. This reboot shit is stupid. It's just done. Like, stop. Just do a sequel if you want to do a sequel, or fucking take that concept that you appreciate. Like, I love Resident Evil. If I had money and I was gonna do a Resident Evil movie, I wouldn't call it Resident Evil. I would take that atmosphere and those concepts and make my own story with it. This nostalgic shit isn't working. You're just making forgettable shit and you're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on it. And it's stupid. Take a risk and make a new story and you might have a memorable movie. Because when I look back, even like 12 years ago, I'm thinking about right now off the top of my head horror movies that really interested me. The Dead was great. um well, that was a fresh movie. Obviously people who made The Dead, the Ford brothers, liked um you know older like zombie movies because they made slow movies, but they did their own fucking movie and it was memorable. Stakeland, fucking love Stakeland, and I even like the sequel to Stakeland was great. Um, it was a vampire movie mixed with the zombie formula, which is where the zombie formula comes from in the first place. It comes from a book called I Am Legend. So they did their own thing. So I don't know who's ever gonna watch this fucking Batman stream that because I've been pausing. The whole point was I was gonna talk while playing Batman, and I'm too tired to do both. But try and do your own thing. I don't know. I don't know how to get that out there to more than like 20 people, but and some of you might disagree with that. Some of you might have preferred the Hellraiser reboot over the other stuff. But I'm gonna be back here next month because the new Jordan Peele movie came out or will be out on HBO Max in November, and it's called Nope. And I'm sure a lot of you have seen it already, but I'm very excited to check that out. So I will be checking out Nope here in the near. Is it on HBO? It might be on Peacock. I don't know. Um, and so despite um, a pretty lame stretch of movies, regurgitated nonsense, and it's stuff that's been regurgitated already to me in my life. The Monsters was already remade a couple times in the 90s. Like we've already done this, right? Predator's been done to death. Hellraiser's been done to death. Like, how many times are we gonna fucking tell this same fucking tired stories over? And it becomes a little more convoluted and a little dumber. Hocus Pocus was the only like original, like that's an original sequel. Like they called it Hocus Pocus 2, and even that was like regurgitated crap. Like, yeah, I digress. I'm done. Um, and through all that, I ended up going back and just watching horror movies. Like Peacock is Universal Studios movies, so they have a great horror catalog, you know. So I went back and watched People Under the Stairs. I watched The Hills Have Eyes, the remake sequel to Hills Have Eyes 2, which is a National Guard like training unit, ends up in the hills with the freaks and they're fighting the mutants underground, and it was fun. I watched My Soul to Take, Wes Craven's My Soul to Take, which I hadn't seen since it first came out. Um, I love The People Under the Stairs. I think that's a great movie. And then I watched Halloween 3, which is a wonderful movie. I showed my wife the end of that movie, which makes me laugh pretty hard every time. We watched Fight Club last night, which is I know is not a horror movie, but it's horrific. It's a great movie. My wife had never seen Fight Club, so I guess if we're just gonna keep regurgitating over this stuff, I'll just go back and watch. It's even dumber that we keep rebooting this stuff nowadays because all these movies are accessible. I don't need you to make Hellraiser or whatever part 11 when I can just go back and watch the good ones, you know? And if you do remake something, do your own thing because I can watch the Dawn of the Dead remake if I'm in the mood for that remake, or I can go back and watch the original Dawn of the Dead. Neither obsoletes the other, you know? The Fly, David Cronenberg's The Fly is a much different film from, you know, the old school 20th Century Fox Fly. They're both fun movies for their own reasons, and I enjoy watching both those movies. So I'm gonna get back to playing Batman and take some more cough medicine. That was my fever-induced Halloween movie review for this year, 2022. Very disappointing, but we did get a gem, The Barbarian. Barbarian. I think it's just called Barbarian. HBO Max. Go watch that. Don't watch this shit. Get off YouTube and go watch Barbarian. Okay, love you. Goodbye. Happy Halloween. Say Happy Halloween, Charlie.
What?
Say Happy Halloween, Charles.
Happy Halloween.
Bye.